ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ Hi all.
Hello. Seth, can you hear me?
Hi again. Very good.
How are you?
Hi, hello. Prakash.
Hello.
Bhumika.
Alok bhai, after wedding, you know, you need to detox a little bit.
Hello everyone. Waiting for others to join. We'll start in 5 minutes. Sir.
Too early for Najla.
Yeah.
Early for Najla to join.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. Today
Hi.
I woke up at
Hi, hi.
5:30. Very early.
Yeah. See, you have to do a lot of things for sesame seed.
Yes, it's a lot of work. Keep us up at night.
Hi.
Najla, very
How
good
are
morning.
you?
to you. Very good morning to you.
Morning.
Good
Morning.
Mr. Khan,
morning.
very good
Morning.
afternoon. Sir, look.
Yes, sir. How are
Good
you?
afternoon,
How
sir.
are you?
Mr. Sebastian, good afternoon. Sanjeev ji, namaskar.
Hello.
Hi, Sanjeev.
Hello, Sanjeev.
Yeah. Mr. Bobaka Konta, very good morning to you, sir.
Yeah. Nah.
Hindu, can you go ahead? We'll start.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can start in 5 minutes, sir.
Go ahead, go
You-
ahead. I think others will join, don't let because we have about 10 people here, so
Yes.
you're waiting for who else you're waiting for?
Jayachandana sir has to join. Sir.
Okay, no problem. We'll ask Naveen to message him or contact him.
Yes.
Please start. Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm Sindhu VH from sesmeinfo.in. With me, we have our team. We have Mr. Srivatsava sir and our team members, Mr. Venkatramanan and Mr. Naveen. So today we have a distinguished panel of 12 industry experts with us, each bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience to shed light on the current state and future trends of the SESMA industry. We are fortunate to have such a diverse and knowledgeable group, and their collective expertise will undoubtedly provide us with valuable perspectives on the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. So this is a group discussion in which we are going to discuss on 2024 global SESME supply and demand trend. So today's session promises to be an insightful journey as our esteemed experts share their views, analyze and predictions for the global SESME landscape. This webinar helps us understand the major supply and demand drivers and their impact on global SESME production and consumption. Also helps us to know how the global trade will be in 2024, as well as the impact of exogenous factors such as global economic growth, geopolitical events, and others on SESME sector. So we are recording this webinar to summarize the content, and the summary of the proceedings of the meeting will be presented in the special edition of SESME Weekly that will be distributed at Gulfood 2024. So before proceeding further, So I want suggestion from all of you. I hope you have gone through all the topics or questions shared by us. So I just want to know how can we proceed this discussion? Like, can we proceed the discussion in the same way in which we have shared the questions, or can we have the discussion on the topics, country-wise topics? How can we proceed this meeting, sir? Can we have discussion on country-wise, or like
No, we can have
you-
a discussion on country wise, or you can give maybe 3 minutes to everyone to speak, because everyone is aware, like Sanjeev is aware of all the origin. Hakan also does this, most of the origin. So I think we can start that way. Sanjeev, what do you suggest?
Fine with that, yes. But we can keep it free flowing, whatever way, because it's not,
Yeah.
we're all trying to understand what's happening in the market.
Yes, that's
We're happy to go with that.
If I may, Sindhuji and Vatsaji, I would like to say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
Jay.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
So can we start?
Yes.
So yeah, so let's proceed the discussion by country wise, sir. So let's start with Nigeria. Sorry, sir, we can start with China, sir. So China's import in last 2 years reduced compared to previous years. Is it a temporary decline? Like, what are the reasons associated with this? Is it because of currency depreciation, or what might be other factors? How 2024 is going to be in the China in terms of demand? Anyone can share your view on this, sir?
Okay, I can take a shot,
Yeah.
Yes.
but China is the biggest importer, biggest market. So I don't think we can land up on the right answer for China anyways. Because not only in Sesame, there is a reduced demand on China in every place. Lots of products, consumption is down. Okay. So it could be a trend. And the reasons are not only limited to currency. We've seen in their oil, the mix of the oil also changes because it's never sold as a pure sesame oil. So the mix changes. 10% of a mix change would mean 100,000, more than 100,000 grams of reduction, if at all that swing takes place. So we don't have anyone from China, so that otherwise they would have given many more reasons on what can be the reason.
Yeah.
Currency itself is a problem.
Currency.
Chinese economy itself is a big
It's a
issue.
problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are multiple issues. I don't see China coming back strongly. At least my personal view, seeing other products as well, China will take some time. And had this been a normal year, probably some weakness in the market. Luckily, supply side was not as bad or as good as you might say for a lower price scenario. So I don't think China will come back even very strongly next year, but that's my personal view.
Yes, sir. Currency depreciation might be a big reason. Increasing.
They don't have money. The no money in the bankings. The lines are not available to smaller guys. Forget about smaller guys. Even medium-sized operators are not able to get money. So multiple issues in the economy. Let's be ready with a bit of a reduced demand from China.
So just picking on that, sorry. What is the finance cost? How much has it gone up? Is it because many people say that even the inventory drawdowns is largely on account of these two factors, higher cost of financing as well as the 5% and on average decline in the currency, plus elevated prices of the commodity per se. So all kinds of combinations working to the disadvantage of this sector is what we get a sense.
So I won't have an idea on what individual level cost of financing, how much it might have gone up. But even if you go by the global US dollar borrowings, something, a company which could borrow at 3% is borrowing today at 8 or 9%. And companies which were like at 5 to 7% are in double digits.
Yeah.
So even in a place like US, it's becoming difficult, which has probably one of the most liberal availability of credit. So that is a challenge. But in China becomes even bigger because there are different kind of rules that go into China.
So
the
do you-
disparity can be very, very high.
So does it also mean that we will continue to see low levels of inventory?
Definitely. It helps. Not only Chinese, even the other big guys out of Japan also had a stated policy that they wanted to reduce inventory last year.
Oh,
And Japan has one of the world's lowest cost of borrowings today.
yeah. And normally their inventory pipelines is quite big, no? If I'm not wrong. I
They
think,
used to carry quite big. Yeah.
So do we see that kind of an impact in Japan as well?
There is not in terms of demand, but inventory drawdown, yes. In terms of demand and in terms of availability of credit, that market is far more stable.
But would the developments like the Red Sea thing, would it perhaps get them on the defensive, because now we cannot estimate how long it would take to bring the material. So there's an added uncertainty. Please, from Ethiopia and
true.
Sudan, maybe
Yeah. That's true, but then unfortunately we are not in the season right now. So even if somebody wants to react, it's too late to react now. So you'll
Okay.
see disruptions.
So basically, your summary is that we are going to see a reduced demand in China. The current trends which have caused a decline in demand is likely to continue well into 2024. And their inventory would continue to be in the current levels or near about the current levels, and
Yeah.
challenging.
But all these are estimations. China is always known to have surprised everyone.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what I wanted to ask, is
Yes.
it because we are talking about 1900, 2000 levels and not 1500, 1600 levels? And would situation change drastically if we look at certain different price points, is what my next question was.
So I'd like anyone else to go ahead with it, or
Yeah.
I will just add one comment on this, that, in the recent time, we have seen that nowadays, when it goes to the higher pricing, Chinese are keeping away from the market. We have seen when Tanzania crop was going on. We have seen when Burkina crop is going on. They once you touch 1800 or once you touch 1900, suddenly they will be out of the market, and they will, even if their stock is less than 100,000 ton, they will not show, any intention to buy at higher pricing. So, I mean, this is one of the point we have to take in consideration, that maybe at the lower prices, they may opt to take position, but they are all conservative and they are all very watchful nowadays. I mean, everyone. Even if the big companies, once the prices goes at certain level, they are coming out of the market.
You should. This year they started Pakistan. And
Yeah.
when Pakistan go up to nearly 1800, they suddenly
Yes.
stopped and watched what happened. So
Yeah.
it's confusing. Like 1800 number is like an idol for them to move around.
Yes. Yes, you're right. 1700 is still they were buying, but then 1780 above, they were not.
Actually, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have a little bit different opinion than my other co-participants. You see, if you see in origin, these Chinese were keep on buying, they never stopped, whether in Burkina, Nigeria, even Chad. Chad, it was probably this much they were not buying earlier, but this year, half of the Chad crop, they have already covered themselves. So looking at this, now they are already sitting with a price, a reasonable price cargo. Now it's interest of the Chinese for the prices to go up, because this is how, if they covered their quantity, the next thing they will look, maybe increase the price. So this can affect not a big terms, probably $50 to $100 prices can go up from here. In any way, for this season, till Tanzania comes, I'm doubtful that the prices will go down, because reason is, almost all the origins are almost finished, not much cargo left there. Number two is local Chinese buying is done. And, as we see, always sesame seed going against the conventional principles. Like always, we think that prices of sesame in China will go up before the new year. After the new year, the prices will come down. In Turkey, before the Ramadan, prices will be high. After the Ramadan, the prices will go down. All these convention things probably is going to change, and we will see this year that change.
Mr. Prakash, that's very good and a different viewpoint, and that's exactly the purpose of a small group discussion, because we can be more articulate and open in expressing our views. Do you see that, like I think most of us here also would agree that the temporary the correction is not anywhere soon, but we might nevertheless expect a correction little later in the year. Is that what you are alluding to also?
What my thinking is, a correction should happen after the Chinese holidays, in terms of slightly going up, probably a $50 to $100 from current levels. Then when Tanzania comes, because initially all the time you will see that the Tanzania crop, there will be a short selling and all these things, then the prices again come to another $100 down. As you see, the minimum price of sesame seed is not anymore 1400, 1500 and all these levels. So it's like, the minimum level of sesame is $1,700 to $1,800. And from there, you go another $100 plus $1,900. Probably it will not touch $2,000, because it will affect people's sentiments and behavior and all these things. But, probably this, between 1,700 to 1,950 range can happen till April, till the Tanzania comes.
Any more views on China before we move to other place? Mr. David Battery, welcome to the discussion, sir. Do you have any views on China?
Thank you.
I've had, okay.
Some ideas on China. Very difficult to make the predictions, as Sanjeev confirmed. I guess this a question that I think maybe a fair number of our viewers or listeners might be interested to understand. What is the current stock level of China right now? What do we feel that number is?
Around 100K.
Yeah, below 100K basically.
The
Below
current stock
100K.
level, you mean to say probably around 120, 130,000 tons, no?
So already we've got a 30%
Is Sanjeev,
spread.
do you agree with that?
So that's the number is there. Yes. Anything between 100, 120, that number is there. But that number is the stock available at the Chinese ports. So how much of this stock is available for trading? How much of this stock is, let's say, for a crusher who has bought it and kept it in the bonded warehouse with an option of either trading it or crushing it? No. You don't know who's the owner of that. What is the ownership of that? Because many a times what can happen, a big crusher is sitting on this stock. He keeps that option, but then he also has to keep his factory running. So all this 100,000 may not come into the market. And that's the opaqueness about the Chinese market, that you never know how much of the stock is available for trading and what is the total stock available. Everyone talks about the total stock available, but how much of it can impact S&D, that's always doubtful. That information actually never comes out. How much of it is committed, how much of it is not committed.
Yeah,
But
that's
it-
correct.
It is not, but
Yeah,
But
the same
maybe-
situation I've
maybe-
seen in the past, but
Yeah,
from 200,000 tons to 150,000 tons, we are at half that level. Is that the-
exactly. Yeah. So
still
it's a
this-
low stock.
yeah, still committed stock, and this is again a big question mark. Yeah, I agree with you, because how much of this is actually going to come into the market to get sold is not very clear.
Yeah.
Now more so because
But they behave depending on their goods that are going to arrive. They are hedging themselves accordingly, aren't they? So what kind of quantity will arrive there till, say, for example, from today or back Feb to April? You know, that is how they are going to hedge themselves to use it or trade it. Yes. Locally, that's important also.
I think more important thing, what's going to arrive before the Chinese New Year? Is it,
Yeah.
do we expect about 100,000 tons to arrive into China before the China New Year?
Yeah, but then what do we take as the date for Chinese New Year? 7th, 8th of February is the holiday. You're already sitting on 22nd. So 1 week before that, China should shut down. So practically 1st of February, China shuts down. We have about 9 days now.
Yeah.
So China is, and for that 9 days, if at all the stock has to move from port to the factory, the consumer is not going to consume sesame seeds. He's going to consume products, which will take some time for production. So my view, China's demand for the new year is already, plus minus 2 days. We are at the end of it.
Yeah, you are correct on the Chinese New Year. What I'm thinking, for example, when the Chinese came after the holidays, how much containers will be sitting in the port? What quantity they will have for use it? Because if there is huge quantity piled up in those time, then after the holidays also maybe the demand will be less. But if there is no much, then people will start looking some new booking.
Oh, that's correct. That we don't know. That we don't know what will land up there.
Great. Any further comments or final comments on China before maybe we can move to other origin? Mr. Sebastian?
The Chinese lockdowns are on a low side, as everybody has suggested. And also the local crop is, the port stock is all the imported stocks. The local crop is also already consumed. I think it's not much available in the market, which means China is stuck with what stocks available at the port and at the customer's warehouse. The next crop is coming only on May, which will get shipped in June, July, and landing in July in China, which means in the next 5 months, there's no other supply coming from, no other new origins coming. So what cargo will be landing in China will be mainly from West Africa and a little bit from the Ethiopia and Uganda, which means the coming months, the local stock levels is low. It can potentially, the month of April, May, June, will be local Chinese markets can be a bit more higher than the current levels. That's a possibility which we can see. And since the prices are, as we already discussed, we are seeing prices are not low. It is slightly on a higher side than the normal years. But still, we are always seeing there's a resistance at 1800 levels in the Chinese market. So the coming month, maybe that will change and it can move slightly up. That is the feeling we are getting with the supply and demand.
Right. Anyone else for China? Sure. We will definitely move to Japan. I'm so sorry. Mr. Daiki is there. Thank you so much. It's been pretty late for you. Sir, please share your thoughts on what's happening in China, in Japan, and what is that you see for 2024?
Firstly, hi, this is Daiki from Mitsui. I have just started to join this Mitsui Sesame team from last December, and I before that I was dealing with the dairy product. And today, as a representative of Japanese market, I have prepared some document, but it seems like I'm not available to show my screen. Can somebody allow me to share my screen?
Sure, sure,
I
sure.
have prepared my PowerPoint.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll do that.
Yep.
Varun, can you please give permission?
Sure.
Yeah, I think you can share that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now you
All
can.
right. I think this is all right. Oh, this is really simple presentation data that you guys can understand about the Japanese sesame trend and the market condition in Japan. Well, as you may know, first of all, Japan, we have so many applications that we use for sesame. Like we directly consume the sesame with the or just itself, or major application is for sesame oil. And as Japanese people eat a lot of rice, we put as a topping of the rice, and then also for the confectionery applications. And maybe most of the Japanese people loves ramen with a bunch of sesame, and the sesame paste, sesame tofu, and the dressing for the salad, soup, whatever. So traditionally we have so many applications which use sesame, so it's one of the very essential commodity that we need to import. And I was really surprised that more than 99% of the sesame is imported to Japanese market, although we are historically using sesame in Japan. And this is the import stats of volume and value. We traditionally import more than really close to 170,000 tons per annum, and we historically hit to 200,000 tons in 2020. But now this year, 2023 is 164,000 tons until November. So as a pro rata calculation, maybe probably the total import volume is going to be 170 plus. So which doesn't mean very good result, but the value are increasing because the sesame price is increasing. And when we look at the country that we import the sesame, the almost not almost half, but a very huge quantity we import from Nigeria. So that's why I can say the red circle area is the region from Africa. So I can say that Japanese market heavily rely on the African market, and now Africa and also for the Middle East geographically have an issue because of the Red Sea, and also for the internal battle and the war. So I myself personally really afraid of sustainable import to Japanese market from Africa and also from Nigeria. And maybe some of you know, but Mitsui has a relationship with the company so-called ETG, and the ETG has many supply sources, especially from the East Africa, like Mozambique and Tanzania. And we believe that the ETG can quickly sustainably supply to Japanese market so that they can support Japanese market. And this is quantity by port. Probably this is also one of the highlights that I can share with you so that I can promote it to the Japanese market. That among 164,000 tons, 87,000 tons imported to discharged at Nagoya port, which is in the middle part of Japan, and also for Kobe. Kobe is not the major port in Japan, but there is one of the biggest oil sesame oil company, so Kadoya. So they use really huge quantity in Kobe, and they also use Yokohama port as well. Here is the customer list that we have. In total, 170,000, but just a really rough calculation done by myself. And the Kadoya is one of the biggest sesame consumer in Japan, which consumes almost like half of the quantity of Japanese import sesame, and most of the POD is Kobe. And one highlight is that the Kadoya is a part of the company that we have more than 20% share. So I can tell that Mitsui owns one of the biggest oil processing company in Japan, sesame oil processing company in Japan. And other companies like Takemoto, Kuki, those are also really huge, big sesame oil manufacturer. In total, approximately 50 to 60,000 tons. So Kadoya plus Takemoto plus Kuki is almost 130,000 tons in Japan, and we cover those three major customer as a company customer. So in the end, I can share you the summary of Japanese market, that the sesame is used in Japan for a variety of applications. And although consumption has dropped due to recent inflation, there are great potential for demand growth in the future. And most imports come from Africa, and the geopolitical risk and the geographic remoteness make diversification of production area is very important. Japanese government policy is tightened pesticide inspection year by year, and the cooperation on the part of the suppliers is very important. Mitsui has a network that can reach almost all customers in Japan and can expect sustainable business. So today, this is my first time to join this kind of international conference, but allow me to say thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and hope I can co-work together. Does someone has a question to my presentation and my thought?
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sinus. Yeah. Any questions from what we heard so far on Japan?
Actually, I have a question to Mr. Daiki. You started importing from Pakistan. How do you find the quality? And is this Japan is going to continue, or it's only because of price sensitive? Just want to have a feedback.
That's a really good question. Today we did our inspection by ourselves before we deliver the goods to our customer. But aflatoxin has been found for many rots. So we needed to do the test again. But as the test is not for free, of course, so we have to pay a lot of money for the additional test for that. So I myself is quite skeptical about the quality of the Pakistan. But as I said, we need to diversify the company in terms of many purposes. So definitely Pakistan is also one of the very important supply source for Japanese market as well. And we hope that the quality is going to be improved so that we can import quite sustainably.
That's very nice. Thank you. Any more questions?
By the way, among these 160,000 tons, we need to import approximately 40 to 50,000 tons. So we definitely need the support from you guys. So after the meeting, I would put my email address on the chat list. So if somebody has an inquiry, please send me the email.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Sorry to
Um,
interrupt.
Sure, thank you very much. Sir, Ed, just before we move on, one quick question, bulk of the demand comes from oil. Do you see any challenges for oil demand in 2024, given that other oils have come down quite substantially? So,
I personally feel that the demand of the sesame oil is very sustainable because if let's say edible fat oil in Japan, people use lapseed oil or those of different type of oil apart from sesame, and the sesame is one of the product that can be consumed quite consistently. So we don't see huge drop or huge increase of demand. And we personally supporting Kadoya-san to use more sesame and produce sesame oil, and so that they can export to other countries. And in fact, exporting sesame oil to US, especially in the US West Coast, is a really good business for them. So we, as an Amitsu, are supporting them to export the product to overseas.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing your views, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Like you said, I have a small question. In
Sure.
2020, Japan imported more than 200,000 tons. In 21, it has come down. Now I think somewhere in the range of 180,000 tons is an average import. Do you see that this is the optimal level, or it will increase in the coming
No,
years?
absolutely not. Because
No.
the reason why the import quantity has been dropped to 170 to 160, and the average quantity should be adequate level of the import quantity is set like 180 to 190. So I can tell that the customer's stock level is really low. But why people cannot import so much quantity from overseas is because one is the sesame itself is dramatically increasing. Now today, Nigeria sesame oil for the crushing grade is 1780 or 1750 or something like that, and that's absolutely really high level. And plus, Japanese yen versus USD depreciated a lot. So today's rate is 147, and when I look at the rate 2 or 3 years ago, the rate was 100 or 110. So it depreciated a lot to Japanese market. So importing the product from overseas is really tough for the company. And plus, as I said in the beginning, Japanese are really strongly rely on the sesame import from overseas, because 99.7% are imported from overseas. So directly affect for the customer for in terms of this depreciation of the currency. So still challenging. Today the rate is still 148. Hope the government can put some effort on improving the condition for the most of the importing companies to support the economic in terms of the economic way.
One last question. What are the stock levels in Japan?
Well, it depends on the customers, because sesame doesn't have much, defined shelf life. So some people has stock level for 2 years, but some customers doesn't have much, like only 2-3 months. And currently there are a huge delay of the shipment from Africa, so it's not an easy situation for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your.
Just one question for Daiki-san.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was wondering if you could name the countries. I mean, in terms of residue values, which one you see the most having an issue, and the least one. I mean, maybe for like Nigeria, and maybe you have Burkina is less. You have maybe no residues in other origin. I mean, what are you able to inform us in that term, in terms of residues?
Well,
where
good
you
question.
see
Thank you
the
very
cases
much.
the most?
Many of the African countries, but Burkina Faso is less. So in terms of when I buy the very, very safe, like a pesticide-free sesame, when I need to buy the pesticide-free sesame, I probably choose Burkina Faso, especially from Africa. And we also trying and cooperating with the South American company for importing mechanical hulled and mechanical harvested sesame, but they also use pesticide, so sometimes they are also tough. I assume that the Japanese, government put really high hurdle importing the sesame in terms of the pesticide, but as this is the real situation, we need to overcome. But again, when I come back to your question, the African countries still risk in terms of pesticide.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your views on Japan sesame market. So let's move on to the next country, that is Turkey. So we have this question, like how would Turkey's import and re-export business in the present year, how it would be? In 2023, Turkey's currency faced devaluation against USD from 18, like in the start of the year, January, and 29 in December. Will it have any impact on Turkey's imports in the current year?
We are back to Turkey here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You see, Turkey has become a hub, which I've told you many times earlier. So actually, Turkey also export most of its products in terms of farina and helva now. So as the hulled sesame sisters, there's a increased quantity of hulled, which is reaching about 25,000 tons. Which is almost equivalent as Pakistan, which itself is a producing country. Okay, coming back to the currency issue. Locally, the trade is based on the dollars. Accordingly, people, although the hedging facilities are not there recently over the past 1 year. I mean, people try to hedge themselves somehow with receivables, maybe better profits if they have to sell to the markets. They just get, with the minimum margins, but the hedging opportunities are less. But still, the local trade is based on the dollar currency. So, and it does not have much effect. The effect is only affecting small-scale companies whom used to import, that they are not in the market. They only are obliged to buy from the local market. Apart from that, we don't have much effects on the currency. However, the credit limits in Turkey has declined. I mean, credit facilitation is less, and as I may have mentioned earlier, and we don't We don't see any better scenario until 2026 that I can rest assure you on that one. However, Turkey becomes also a hub for natural sesame seeds exports. That replaces some of the countries that are doing that in Europe, like in Holland, with a cheaper fixed cost on the production. We have a better chance of doing natural sesame seeds exports out of Turkey as well. Of course, that also depends on the position of the companies that are doing that. But yes, in terms of currency, people get used to, hedging themselves. That's what we have in Turkey. But ahead of time, which we had touched around 200,000 tons, maybe another 10-20% decline we may see, because as like in China, the 1800 numbers are high numbers. That's the max paid. For Humera, we paid last week. There's a small consumption of Humera now in Turkey, $1,950. See what we can get out of that, and when it will be shipped. It's a February shipment. Red Sea scenario. I don't know when we will receive that one. Hope it will get shipped.
Yeah, so are there any questions for Turkey from anyone?
Hi, Hakan, how are you?
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And you?
Yeah, my question is the recent notification from Turkish government about the salmonella check.
Yes.
They put Sudan, Ethiopia,
Yeah.
then I believe Uganda, India, 100% salmonella checking. Actually, Ethiopia may not affect much because much cargo is not coming. Uganda doesn't have much crop, but Sudan, which is actually what I know is Turkey, after Chad, the second most popular sesame is Sudan. If they are going to check 100% salmonella check, there is about 30 to 40% rejection risk in Sudan. How do we tackle this? After this notification, is there any revision or any cargo came which has rejected or passed? Can you throw some light about that?
I can throw you some light out of that. Turkey is subject to Turkish import scenario in terms of micro and pesticides is whatever applied in EU, that is also applied in Turkey. So yes, I mean for Pakistan sesame seeds, for example, we've had also AFLA issues early this year, and the most recent cargoes that arrived had also AFLA issue. Okay, that is Pakistan being AFLA. Salmonella was there in the earlier days. A big consumer, big user, and my brother, they went to the minister. They said, look, this is such so and so processing, so salmonella goes away anyway when this heat, when the sesame faces this heat, and so salmonella was waived also, but the pesticide residues remain as it is. And over Chad sesame seeds, we have had pesticide issues, and it was asked to be shipped back. So it has become strict. It has become strict in the sense that because salmonella has been found in tahini in Germany or Holland that uses Nigerian sesame seeds. Okay, all traders that we know, we buy now that as Niger. Okay, to avoid the strict control, but yes, I mean, Turkey. I don't think there is any revision to salmonella and pesticide issues. For example, one user was telling me today that he may be interested to buy new crop Paraguay. However, he is afraid of getting more on the. He was afraid for the heavy metals. You see, I mean, people are checking, and all these are traced back to them, where their customers. So people will be here also more knowledgeable in buying, even though they find a way to import the cargo they've paid. At the end, they will still have issues with their customers, so there will be less willingness to to do that. They won't be interested to buy. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But yes, salmonella on those origins and pesticide on all other origins, for each and every origin is checked here. It must be confirmatory with EU. So at least we better need to check, and it is like in Europe, final at arrival, whatever you do. So, but at least, you know, if the shipper gives at least a feedback, then, you know, with the analysis certificates and all, you know, we'll be more open to explain the clients. And furthermore, the purity issue, people are okay, fine. I mean, they are looking more after cleanness, more clean product they are after. You know, like 99, okay, 99. I mean, they're not going for 98 and less. So quality is a bit improving over this side in Turkey.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, sir, for sharing your views. Like, any other questions or views on Turkey sesame market? Yes. Okay. Let's.
Any quick comments on hiring the sesame exports from Turkey? How do you see, how was it in 2023 and how do you see in 2024?
Well, it has been gradually increasing. I think we have reached already around 20,000 tons up to now. For this 20,000 tons, I can inform you that we might have reached during 2023.
So do you see that further going up in 24?
That really depends, because you should, there are limited factories, and I think the production will stay, will not permit that, definitely. I don't think so. The production will not permit, even though there will be a demand. Only 3-4 companies, max 5, that are doing that, and it's not going to exceed the. It's not going to be able to compete neither with India or Nigeria. With Nigeria, there is also half production growing. Although logistical issue, Turkey cannot compete. I think it's just quite sustainable, unless, you know, the factories, there will be more and more factories.
For the sesame, which is going
which
for
I'm afraid.
domestic market, the local consumption in Turkey, do you see any change in preferences in terms of origin?
In terms of origin, you see, Chad is number 1 here. Then, okay, Nigeria, depending on the variety, okay, but of course, Burkina, Mali, Togo, Mozambique, these are preferable. These are preferable origins, and people have a tendency to try everything that comes out of Africa, not to consider the hulling industry, preferring Brazil now. Then it's also some other small origins from that side of the world. In case the prices is equivalent as Brazilian prices, or depending on the seasonal changes, whichever comes earlier. If it is cheaper than Africa, people take it. And most of the buyers for that is the ones who are hulling the seeds, also using it processing for confectionery use in Turkey. So for tahina, mostly yes, Africa is the preference. Least now the Ethiopia because of the price. Sudan, Langederef, I mean, price should be really cheaper than Chad for Sudan, but anything out of Africa, as long as it's cleaned well, people are ready to try it.
Thank you. Thank you.
For example, one more thing. I mean, anywhere, where there's a small production, I see today a Turkish company, a machinery company, setting up a facility in Cameroon, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Yeah. Any more questions for Turkey?
And this Ethiopian cargo flow to Turkey is almost stopped now, right?
I'm sorry?
Ethiopian cargo flow to Turkey is less now due to the current Red Sea issues.
No, it will be shipped during February, but I was speaking with Ethiopia this morning. They keep postponing shipments out of Ethiopian port. I had a shipper who was, telling me that he had 10 or 12 containers, I'm sorry, which is shipped in 3-4 parts. So we'll see if we get out of there. But I'm not very optimistic that we'll get all shipped at once. Let's see.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views, sir. So next we will move on to India. So as we know, Indian sesame production is driven by the summer season more than the Kharif season in recent years, as Kharif crop size is in a decreasing trend compared to previous years. How would be the trend this year? Like, are there any strategies being adopted to increase the summer crop size, like water management strategies, or are there any drought tolerant varieties being released? So when can we expect these?
This is addressed to me, Sindhu?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, yeah, we have seen that summer crop is becoming the main crop in India from the last 2 or 3 years, we can say. And the problem with winter crop is, it's more dependent on the weather. So this is the 4th year in a row in which we saw a significant decrease in the monsoon crop. And to say something about the next monsoon, I think would be too premature. But we are seeing an increasing summer crop. This year, the market reports are such that water availability is limited in many areas where sowing takes place. So we feel that we might not see a very big increase in the sowing. Every year we've seen some increase happening in Gujarat for the summer crop, but this year we might not see a big increase in the sowing. But looking at the remuneration that the farmer is getting from the summer sesame, we feel internally that we would still see sowing in comparison to what it happened last year. We could see some see some reduction in sowing of groundnut, for example, going into sesame. if water availability is low. So that is one part. Seed, development of seed varieties is something that is already going on. We are working with ICAR, IIOR, the IOPPC is working with these institutions to improve the seed varieties. And this is something that, if you start now, we will see that result in 2 or 3 years. So this is something that is an ongoing process. But as of right now, for the next summer crop, is there a new variety available? No, that is not there. Further, when you're talking about increasing the acreage, yes, there is a push from our side also, and there is a general push in the market because the market prices are very good. So we are seeing new areas coming up in different states. So for example, Maharashtra, we saw that the crop was becoming lower, until 1 year ago. And this year we have seen new areas coming up or old areas being revived in Maharashtra, for example. We have seen some areas in Karnataka, some areas in Andhra Pradesh, some areas in Tamil Nadu also, coming up with crops because the price is good and the farmers are able to earn good money at this rate. So we will see newer areas coming in at such price levels. Indian farmers are finding this remunerative, and we will see that summer crop also should be as good as what it was last year. This is what we personally feel.
Okay, so we can see the increase in the acreage in the coming years.
Not for Gujarat, but then we will see for other states. Yes. For Gujarat, we expect a stable sowing figure, and we would see some increase in other states. Who the farmers were shifting from other crops, or where they have water, they will be sowing sesame, something like this. Yes.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for sharing your views, sir. Like, are there any comments on Indian sesame or any questions from anyone?
Just there has been news on the winter demand, like this year it has been very lackluster.
Correct.
So any comments on that? And
Yeah, see,
what is the
we
impact of that on maybe the imports?
we saw a lower domestic demand from what we saw the year before. We had a winter which came in very late, 1 month late, and winter is still going on right now. But a lot of traditional use of sesame stops after 14th of January, even though the temperatures are low. So that segment is already stopped producing things made out of sesame. So we have seen a dip in that consumption. But overall, the major factor which affected was the late onset of the winter, and that affected sesame consumption, because sesame consumption normally doesn't start until the temperatures start to fall in India. So we saw we've seen a dip in the domestic demand because of that, and that has actually skewed the equation. What the Indians were expecting, what sort of demand will be there. Also, once we had this demand revival coming in from other markets like Europe, for example, this Red Sea situation has caused freights to rise, and because of that we are seeing a dip in demand from over. That's why Indian market is a little sluggish right now. The Indian high seas market is operating at a discount from origins as of right now. We are seeing that demand from Turkey, Vietnam, China and Japan is decent, but so that is why the origins are sustaining at the price level, but demand within India for imported cargo is also low, because the demand for the processed cargo overseas is low due to the freight issue. So until we see this freight issue at least stabilizing, we will not see a big interest from buyers, because right now nobody knows what freight to expect next week or the week after that. We have seen some improvement in the situation, and I hope that in 1 week or 10 days we will have more clarity as to what freight rate we should consider for most of our destinations. Once that clarity comes, I think the buyers and us, we will have to rework our costing and pricing, and then arrive at a rate which is acceptable by them. This is the current scenario. This is the current situation.
So what has been the increase in freight in absolute values, and also what has been the time delay, let's say for Northern Europe?
If I would be saying to give you a perspective, 40 feet container to European base port was costing $500 or $600 pre this Red Sea situation, and today we've seen $1,500 increases. So today that freight would be anywhere between $3,500 to $4,000 for a 40-foot container, and the transit time has increased by at least 15 or 16 days.
My goodness. That's too steep, actually. Like,
Yeah, so
that's why
for
you're
US,
saying-
for example, the US East Coast, we were getting rates of $800, $900, and right now it's at $4,400.
Yes.
So it's in multiples. It's not, the absolute value is tremendous. The increase is tremendous. So
in the
it's
short
something.
term, sorry.
Yeah,
Please go ahead,
yeah.
please go
So
ahead.
this happened in a period of 10 days or 15 days. So it has we are still not able to adjust to this increased pricing till now.
Okay. So what's the kind of among the exporters, you are one of the biggest exporter, like how do you plan for such, do you see that this is going to be a prolonged one, and we need to therefore have plan B kind of an approach, or how do you look at it, because it's a very
So
major
normally with our contracts, we normally have we have some sort of provisions for such scenarios. We learned that from COVID. But of course, such increases, they are in absolute terms per metric ton, it's huge. So to pass it all to the customer, even when there is a contract, there is a clause in the contract, is not fair to anyone. So this is something that individual contracts, individual buyer seller has, we have to make an adjustment as to what is going to happen. The bigger problem that we face when such issues arise is what to do about the new contracts, how to execute new orders. This is right now a bigger challenge than what is going to happen in the contracts which are already in place, because those contracts, we have such clauses which there will be some sort of reset in the price when such events happen. But what about new contracts? What freight to quote? And nobody wants to buy FOB because they are also not sure what the freight is going to be 10 days from now or 15 days from now.
So does it mean that at least in the short term, like certain other hulling centers like Turkey and even Nigeria has an advantage over India?
Yes, definitely. That's what we've seen. From this happened. I think in last week of December, and from that time we have seen the demand for Indian hulled, to the east. Anywhere to the east, the demand has not been affected. But anything. So be it Europe, be it US, be it Russia, all those centers, we've seen a dip in the new contracts which are being signed because of the freight issue. So of course that advantage will pass on to a competing origin like Nigeria or Turkey for that matter.
Did we see any increase in demand to China directly or indirectly?
We are seeing some activity happening in China. We have people who are regularly trading into China, and we've heard that the domestic demand is good and the offtake from the port is decent. So that's good news. We are also from Vietnam, as I told you, we've heard good trade happening into Vietnam, decent trade happening into Turkey, good amount of contracts also being signed by Japan. So all these 3-4 major destinations, they are seeing some activity. But that is not being reflected in India. If it was not for this freight situation, then the same scenario would also be mirrored in India. But because of the freight situation, India is silent, and at least for the next 1 or 2 weeks, it will continue to be like this.
So as a corollary, you would also see imports also being not very high. It is going to be slow, I think.
So actually, a lot of imports were already contracted 2, 3, 4 months ago. we did see a lot of shipments which were diverted from when they were shipped from origins or contracts which were yet to be shipped. They were diverted to destinations like Turkey, China, and Vietnam. So this has happened, and that is why the flow into India in February and March will be lower than what we saw in December and January. So that is one thing that that needs to be understood, because if the Indian players are also seeing that this dip in demand is going to affect our consumption requirement also. So this diversion of goods have happened, and because of this, we expect lower arrivals in February and March into India. This is one thing. So of course, newer contracts are not happening, because whatever you contract now, you'll not get it in time. From April onwards, we will have some crops in India coming in from different states. The main that will start mid May, second half of May. So nobody wants to keep any when that crop is going to start, because that crop comes in big numbers, and everybody wants to be ready to be able to buy it. So they normally will not have any big positions on their books before the summer crop starts to arrive.
Thank you. Anyone else, with any observation or questions to Mr. Jay Chandrana, or add further to what he has already spoken?
Jay, it's me, Prakash. Congratulations for getting most of the tender into India. Congratulations.
Yeah,
And it was
I forgot to mention, yes.
Yeah, it was like a decent number, so you got it. And now my question to you, I have few questions. Number one, what quantities eventually arrived from Africa into India? Because initially they were talking about 80 to 100,000 tons of imports is going to happen. On the top, you said some of the cargoes are getting diverted. So eventually, what is final numbers, approximate numbers of quantity going to arrive in India? That's number one, first question. And second, now your demand, local demand, most of the demand has finished. So what is the quantity of the main crop left at the moment approximately in India? Number three is because of the freight increase. Today, what I can see is that the halt into Europe, the India is running lower parity than the Turkey to about $50 to $100. How do you going to tackle till the new crop, till the summer crop comes? So this means you think there can be a revision in the local price?
We are seeing, I'll try and answer it one by one. First question was the import quantities. What do we see as the new number? I think that overall imports into India will remain below 100,000 tons because of this diversion which is taking place. So this is what it could be, 90,000 tons. This is our estimate as of right now. Of course, we don't know the quantum of diversion that has took place, but we are estimating that 10-15,000 tons of contracts were diverted to other destinations, and that is why we feel that overall imports into India could be in the range of 80-90,000 tons. Below 100,000 tons would be our estimate right now. Second, the amount of monsoon crop or the summer crop before remaining in India post this domestic demand getting over. We estimate that as of right now, if we are not calculating the imported seed, the domestic crop in India would be to the tune of 25-30,000 tons. It's not a very significant quantity. This is the most that could be there. Third question, we are running at a disparity to other destinations, to other origins right now, and that is the reason why we have seen a correction in the Indian market to the tune of around $80-90 a ton. The market is trying to offset the additional freights which we are paying, for exporting our goods to Europe and US and other Mediterranean destinations. So somewhere in the next 10-15 days, we will reach, I think, we'll reach a balance. Freights, I think, will stop increasing, and our market should stabilize at a level where we are again able to compete with an exporter sitting in Nigeria or Turkey. But until that, we have to let the market do its work. Second, also, this tender, which I forgot to mention, 6,000 tons tender was declared yesterday. 4,500 tons was awarded to Indian players, and that has caused some respite. That has caused that the panic which was there to sell cargo immediately, that panic has subsided. We have seen that since yesterday, and we've seen some stability in the market since then, which we feel that is going to continue for 1 or 2 weeks. We are also hearing that a new tender is it's in the works, and we might see that in the coming 20 or 30 days. So that also I feel will help the Indian cause, because to the east we have no issues of freight.
Thank you very much.
One thing, one thing about India, because there is India as a increasing GDP, people getting richer. That means. What about the local consumption there? I mean, are you able to check that is increasing like annually? I mean, yeah, except the festive terms, which is, normal in a sense, but like out of festive season, how is the local consumption?
The local consumption actually is, if you don't calculate the festive season, the domestic demand is increasing.
Yeah.
It's increasing, but we are starting from a very, very small base. So you have to understand, even if it is increasing by 25% a year, in terms of volumes, it is nothing. We are seeing newer users coming from institutional players. We are seeing protein supplements being made out of sesame. We are seeing other uses of sesame being explored right now. But because we are starting from a very small base, we will not see any big impact on the market or in terms of the numbers. In terms of overall demand, we will not see a big dent, at least till 2 or 3 years from now. But I can say, if after festive demand got over, sesame was an inexistent product in Indian households 3 or 4 years ago, but it is no longer the case. Newer uses are coming up, and we will see that impact in the coming 2 or 3 years. But as of right now, we are starting from a very small base. We are not seeing any big increase in the numbers due to this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views on Indian systemic scenario. So let's move on to the next country. Yes, let's move on to Nigeria. So how much quantity Nigeria has exported like so far, and what is the stock left in Nigeria? So, and also in the previous year, export to Turkey is reduced due to Salmonella issue, and also to Japan. Also Japan has imported less compared to previous years due to quality issues and agri-chemical issues. So how Nigerian government is going to cope up with these issues? And how would be the export from Nigeria this year?
This year, the Nigerian crop looks like around 320,000 tons plus minus. Out of that, we feel that getting the actual numbers from Nigeria is too difficult. But the assumption is around 100,000 tons plus minus is already exported by now. So the remaining cargo is the country. I think less than 20% of the crop is yet to come from the farm. Remaining all are in the hands of the exporters. And as Sanjay was explaining about the Chinese stocks, we don't know how much cargo is already traded or which is already sitting in an open position. This is the quantitative numbers of Nigerian exports and the crop. And the second question which you asked is the quantity of exports going to Turkey. Yeah, of course, in the last 2 years, you can see there's a drop in the quantity of exports from Nigeria to Turkey. It's not mainly because of salmonella issues, it's mainly because of the growth of chard cargoes exports to Turkey. So Turkish imports, if you look into Turkish imports, they are importing more chard cargo in the same place where they used to import the Nigerian cargo. Still, the Nigerian cargo exports are less, and it also goes as Niger origin to tackle the salmonella requirement. The people are exporting as Niger cargo. So that's what's happening to Turkey. And I think the third question you asked is on the Japan. Japan, there's no fall in quantity of exports to Japan. Those quantities are more or less very stable, and there can be some swings in the quantity in year after year. That's mainly because of the pricing, the buying price for which other origins are buying, which other origins might be cheaper that time. Otherwise, the quantity exporting from Nigeria to Japan is almost consistent. I have not seen much difference because of this salmonella or any other issues. If you look at the African origin, Nigeria is always one of the cheapest origin. So Japan is looking for crushing, buying for crushing. So they prefer to buy Nigerian cargo, irrespective of the issues they have. What are the other questions which you asked?
Yes, sir. How the exports are going to be this year, sir? Like,
Export, there's not much change. See, if you are looking at the Red Sea issue, it's not at all affecting the Nigerian exports. The Nigerian exports is nowhere getting affected by any of these issues. It just goes as normal. There's no difference for the Nigerian exports.
yeah. Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. Any other views on the Nigerian crop?
Sebastian, what is the total quantity of hull production capacity at the moment in Nigeria, and what quantity is getting exported, number one? And is there any for new plants or the existing plants increasing capacity is on the pipeline?
I can just give an assumption in terms of numbers. Nigeria is producing somewhere in the range of 20-25,000 tons of hull in a year now. There are new factories coming up, and there are also discussions happening for putting up new facilities. Definitely, we can see Nigeria will turn out to be one of the biggest hull exporter from Africa. Due to the different reasons, the Indian exports to Europe also get reduced, and we know the ETO issue. Now, Africa is turning out to be another major exporter of hull system seed. So those numbers will definitely increase. Not only hull. If you see this year, we can see so many factories have put up a lot of Sortex facilities. So the number of Sortex facilities in Nigeria has dramatically gone up in the last 2 years. So you will see more processed or semi-processed cargo moving out of Nigeria.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, Alok Bhargava, sir, can you please give like view on Burkina Faso's crop?
Yeah. Burkina crop, is the whitish cargo is almost finished there. Mixed cargo is still coming, but very, very less. So I believe almost 80 to 85% or more than that cargo is already now in the hands of exporter. There is very little, if at all, remaining with the farmers. And most of the farmers are now, farmers and the traders are now planning for the raw cashew nut crop to arrive in next 1 or 2 weeks. Price level in Burkina went very, very high. Basically, the cost becomes more than what the international markets are asking. But we have not seen any exporter who has come out of the market. Everyone is buying despite the whatever the price levels there are. And I feel the crop size, there was not much change in the crop size as compared to the last year. It will be close to between 180 to 200,000 metric ton. And just one thing I will add in Nigeria, what Sebastian has told. The major issue there, which everyone is facing, there is exchange now. For the last quite a few months, I think for 6 months, more than 6 months. Every day there is a change in the exchange, and that has made farmers getting a huge money in terms of naira, not in terms of dollar. So we feel maybe the level they have never seen the local price level. The farmers and the traders have not seen it. So maybe in the next year we might see some jump in the crop if at all it goes for another 1 month. Sebastian can add to this if I am wrong anywhere in this.
No, it's right. There's a constant devaluation of Nigerian currency. It also created a lot of ruckus in the local market. Definitely, these are historically the highest Nigeria has ever seen for the sesame seed crop.
Just out of curiosity, I wanted to ask, like, if the local farmers are aware about the dollar rates when they convert it, do they convert it in official rate or unofficial rate?
Now we are living in a world where informations are available on phone. So it's not like before. Everybody is aware of everything.
There is the official site for unofficial rates in Nigeria. So everyone is aware what is happening there.
So what exchange rate do they look for? Like, when you are paying them in local currency, is what my question is.
Yeah, to be
Unofficial.
honest, I will put it this way. They won't look at the exchange rate of today. The local market will look for the exchange rate of tomorrow. And that's how they sell the cargo locally. No, it's no joke. It's actually that's what's happening.
So what is the current price in local currency, if I may ask, like, if there is a local price?
I think roughly
2.1.
it's already touched 2100.
Yeah, 2.1 million.
Yeah, 2.1 million for
Okay.
historically normally it is less than 1,000, or 1 million. Now it's more than double.
It's more than that, more than double.
Yeah.
I have a question to both. I think for Nigeria and Burkina especially, what China is probably on the mix, probably around 1750, and Burkina probably near to 1800, 1780, these kind of ranges they are talking about. But when it comes to Takamoto tender to Japan, we always hear 1690, 1700. Last few months, I never see it's gone beyond 1700. What is the magic? How these Japanese are getting so cheap then?
It's not magic. It's a special calculator which some of the people has got. So whenever they are using that calculator, their costing is different from what we are using. That's the only magic we know. Otherwise, there is nothing else. Nothing wrong in the costing, nothing wrong in the exchange. And normally, Prakash, in Japan, every sale is basis position. There is nothing sale like back to back. You don't see the same guys who are selling to Japan offering to China at 1690. They don't. Or to Turkey. If Turkey is getting 1690, probably Hakan will not buy 1950 by paying Ethiopia. So it's not that. It's only Japan who is getting these prices, and they are getting on position basis. Maybe April, May. We don't know what kind of shipment they are selling at and what kind of exactly calculation they are doing. Plus, it's most of the time it is 5 origin. So, you can't predict basically, okay, I understand that most of the time, 40% of the time it's Nigeria they are shipping. But still, while selling, it's difficult to know.
Do you think this Sortex reject is also affecting Japanese market? Sorry, yeah, since Sortex, as a lot of Sortex has come down,
Yes.
so is this
Yes.
rejects are getting shipped to Japan at lower subsidized price?
Yeah, of
It
course.
could be a
Of
reason.
course. Not only that, there is one area in Nigeria which has, the lesser oil content. Most of the people are also buying and mixing that and selling. So it's all depend, how people are, how the shipper is basically, let me put in this way, and what he wants to do with his quality and what is it about his shipment. So there are two reasons, of course.
Prakash, one point I can share you. If you see early days, the Japan used to buy cargo from the big and companies or trading
Big
companies. So now the portion or the participation from those companies are less than 20 to 30% only, where they were doing more than 90%. That shows the that replies your question on price parity and how they are getting. There might be a lot of new and small time players offering low price, but otherwise on a daily basis, day to day or back to back, Japan prices don't have much parity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sebastian, sir, and Alok Bhargava, sir, for sharing your views. Yes, sir. Let's
Thank you.
move on. Yes, sir. So now let's move on to the next.
Sindhu, one
Yes,
second.
sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
When we are in West Africa, can we also have some views on Chad?
Yes.
From both of them, like, if you can quickly share, like, about Chad.
I think Sebastian is in a better position to share that.
No, we don't do chat. We don't follow much chat, but I think Prakash will be in a better position to give chat.
Prakash, I think you can comment on this.
Okay, about the Chad, the crop is probably about 200,000 tons this year. Initially, the costing started like around 1,500, then it went up. Now today is probably about 1,750 kind of range. Chinese are very aggressive in Chad this year. I mean, from last year onwards they were buying, but this year is more aggressive. And whether somebody believe or not, 50% of the cargo bought in Chad this year is from Chinese. And last few days the arrival has come down. Probably still they have some cargoes, but not enough. So normally December, January for Chad, when Nigeria, Burkina slows down, still Chad used to come. But this year, unlike the previous year, the arrival is come down a lot and the prices are increasing. On the top, despite other countries, the CFA is getting stronger. Then because of that, there is a parallel market also working in Chad. So there is a currency shortage, CFA shortage locally in Chad because of the cost is going up. But still, compared to other origin, Chad is better because you can still buy and take a position. At least you can sell at any point of time. There is a market. If Turkey will buy, always it's preferable for them. If they are not buying, still you can find a market in China. The only thing is the transit time has increased. However, one thing good is that the freight has not gone up like any other origin. There are some marginal increase, but not like the East Africa where per container $1,500 has gone up, $200, $300 freight has gone up. So the margin has reduced in Chad, but still not finished. But probably in Nigeria and everything, we can see that if you really cost your current rate of interest, overhead and everything, probably at the end of the year, maybe you will end up in break even. But that's not the case in Chad today.
So do I get it that Chad is the most competitive origin in West Africa and most preferred by Chinese and Turkey?
I won't say China is preferred. China always buy if they get better price. But Turkey, yes, it is always preferred. There is two reasons because Chad is the only sesame seed where you can use for both confectionery and tahina. Initially, they used to import only for confectionery, but now they are, because the taste is extremely good for Chad, so they are using for tahina. So it's all time, if tomorrow, normally in Turkey, June, July, August, there is less demand. But still you will be able to sell Chad because if somebody want to take a position, they first prefer to take position in Chad, any local traders. So it's in Turkey is still popular and it will remain popular for some time. But China, they are buying because from origination sake, still they get cheaper because they don't have many other overheads. They don't calculate interest. So this kind of things, they don't have it. So they are still buy it. And look at the crop size, it is now about 200,000 tons, which is drastic improvement. And maybe in the coming years, it can cross Nigeria because farmers locally, they are happy. I know since sesame seed doesn't need much rain, much water, it's moderate water only needed. So this Chad crop will increase in the coming years.
Is this production increase also like, coming from other places? Maybe like Sudan?
Yes, it could be possible from the border, some quantities coming into Chad, but it's not much because Chad itself is sold, at a premium. And the Sudan, if you all the way you bring the cargo, okay, maybe the Darfur area, which is more of red sesame seed, which is coming into Chad, it can easily recognize this cargo is not Chad. I don't think any Chadians will mix their cargo with the red and reduce their prices. Yes, some quantities are coming into Chad, but not much. It's all Chad production.
Okay, sir, like, any quick words about like what's a real situation right now in Sudan as well, like, as we talk about Sudan?
Well, Sudan is something country is always interesting because when the problem started, we thought everything that Sudan shipments are going to stop. It will have a big impact in the market. Everybody thought it, but Sudan surprised because Port Sudan shipment never stopped. That's the reality. Maybe there are some delays and everything, but in Sudan earlier also there were delays. Now also there are delays, but because of it's a good or bad. The NVOCS is okay now. Red Sea issue has come. Earlier, Sudan issue has come. Maersk, which was handling about 70% of Sudan shipment, now last 2 to 3 weeks, they are not accepting any new booking. They are not even giving a new price also. But again, the virtue of non-NVOCC operators, now there are many, maybe like 10, 12, 15 NVOCC operators are there with the small vessels. They are setting the cargo, dumping the cargo in Jeddah. Today, if you see the stock in Jeddah for transshipment of Sudan cargo will be very huge. So the movements are going, and also now new NVOCC started from Sudan to Turkey. Directly it goes, probably the transit time of about 15 to 20 days. So the arrival of Sudan is happening in Turkey also. So, I mean,
What
there
is the
are some
projected
delays.
2023 final production estimates of Sudan?
The production estimate, I would say around 350 to 400,000 tons, the last crop, where you can see majorly is non-Gadaref. Red production is less. Probably you can say almost finished now. Gadaref, some quantities are available. Non-Gadaref is there, mostly it's like non-Gadaref.
So stocks also like, what would be like, what is left to be shipped again from Sudan?
Even in a normal time, it's very difficult to predict about Sudan because it's a vast area. Now, even it's more difficult to tell what is a crop because especially still there is no authenticate figure about what was a carryover. Probably somebody is telling 150, somebody is telling 100, somebody is telling 50. So you don't know. First of all, you don't have a record of proper what is the carryover from the last crop. Second, okay, this year we are expecting around 450,000 tons. It's also not an authentic report. Quantity has shipped, as regarding the quantity is shipped from last November, where the new crop comes, or October, I would say from October, even if you shipped about 20, maybe about 120,000 tons might have exported. This is my rough assumption.
And plus the transit through Egypt would be another 30,000.
Transit must have gone up, probably 40-50,000 tons easily might have gone to Egypt.
Okay. Okay, because
and also it's also a lot of shipments has gone from Sudan and sitting in Jeddah, waiting for the connection and waiting for the approvals. So today, this is, I don't know whether this is a new opportunity is coming. For example, one of the major market for Sudanese sesame seed is Jordan. Now a new thing started opening, like people today shipping to Jeddah is no issue. From Jeddah, they are clearing the cargo as a transit and sitting by truck to Jordan. So this started. In the coming days, there will be more shipments because it's still better than shipping to Jordan by vessel.
Right, sir. Only one last point, because just having the benefit of attended this Ethiopian conference wherein a lot of Sudanese were there, their own estimation were around like 40 to 60,000 tons last year's carryover. Just because you said there is a debatable number, I'm just adding to the debate one more piece of number it's about 40 to 60 is what they said.
It's good that our Mr. Philippos was not there. Or no, not Philippos, Mr.
He was
Wagdi was
there.
not there. Mr. Wagdi was not there. If Wagdi would have there, he would have told the crop is 700 to 800,000 tons and the carryover is 200,000 tons.
Okay. Thank you very much. Over to Sindhu. Yeah.
Just one point while we discuss Sudan, what about the quantity that sits in Ethiopia that they're not able to move around like our Sudanese friends, So they're not lucky as Sudan, I think, right? So they have no chance, shipping to Israel, and also.
You mean
they will
Ethiopian
have
cargo
the
via
quantity.
Sudan? Or, no, didn't understand.
No, Ethiopian cargo is not being moved like Sudan, it just sits there. And what kind of carryover will they have for the season of 24-25? I mean, that is also another question. I think having said that they seem to have a bumper crop this year.
Yeah, that's what Ethiopia is a wonder. They didn't export much cargo this year so far. Maybe some quantities into China, then they have the problem started. So, but again, Ethiopia, their price has not come down. And I don't know what they are going to do it, because it's like they cannot move by road. They have to export it. And I don't see a big number of exports happening. Maybe, this could be, do they have this kind of stock? This is the first production, because last year there was a crop shortage. All on a sudden this year they started telling their crop is good. Is this right information? Because they still have the same issues with the grain and everything. They still have it. My understanding is why they reduce sesame seed crop, because these Tigrians, where the Humera regions and those areas, Tigray regions, they wanted to produce something where they can consume also, so that they are not depending on the government to supply. So they wanted to produce barley, they want to produce maize, this kind of things. So all on a sudden this year came, all strategy changed. They again changed to sesame seed and started producing the sesame seed. All are debatable.
Again, November conference figures of Ethiopia production was 220,000 tons. And yes, just like Mr. Hakan has mentioned, we have been seeing that no material movement out of Ethiopia, I think the whole of this January. So we don't have any clarity in terms of what is being exported and what is remaining. Yes, that's a big challenge. Maybe Mr. Sanjeev, do you have any numbers, sir, on Ethiopia?
No, Ethiopia is a bit of a black box right now.
Mr. David, do you buy from Ethiopia, sir? And do you have any latest update on Ethiopia?
Sorry, for whom is the question?
Mr. David Buttery, if he's there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. Hi.
Yeah. Any updates, sir, on the Ethiopian market? Shipments out of Ethiopian market?
If they are sitting with a huge stock, what I can know is their export is less than 50,000 tons so far. If they are sitting with a huge stock, don't you see that the Ethiopians will get panic? And today they would have killed the price and somehow reduce the prices and try to sell the cargo even to China, because still they can move into south. They have a problem to move to north. This is what somebody has to answer. I think, I don't know, there is nobody in the panel from Ethiopia today. They should be able to tell why Ethiopians are still not panicking if they have a good crop, if the shipments are less.
But I think the Ethiopian prices are a little bit softened after the Red Sea issues there. One of the main consumer of Ethiopian cargo is Israel, which consumes 60 to 70,000 tons at a premium price than the China. Since they are not able to export to Israel, I think that's the reason the Ethiopian prices are a little bit soft. If you see the last 2 weeks, the Ethiopian prices have come down a little bit. And understanding is the crop is also decent crop they have this year. So most likely, in the going forward, you will see a bit more aggressive pricing from Ethiopia. Since Ethiopian ECX and government, they're also putting up a bottom price target. That could be the reason the prices are not falling. It's not actually falling. Maybe we can expect some more shipments happening from Ethiopia in the coming days.
One of the challenges which they mentioned at the conference was that in the Ethiopian government has put a minimum export price, yeah, that is a big challenge, and even at that time it was out of parity.
Even today also it's out of parity, but still people are exporting small. Yeah, I feel the export quantity will be get better in the coming days.
Right, sir. Right.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. So now let's move on to European Union. So how would be the imports of the European Union in 2024? Europe is a major buyer of sesame, and most of the shipments are going through the Red Sea. So as there is a conflict going on in Red Sea, how Europe is going to cope up with the conflict?
What a great question. Thank you. So, yeah, I think obviously EU has been a significant importer from India and also from China, and both origins are severely impacted by this Red Sea crisis. We already heard from Mr. Deval that the ocean freights increased dramatically from the Far East and from India into the EU. This puts a big pressure onto the origin pricing, but also into European buyers. These high freight rates of over $200 per ton are having a big impact. EU demand has been pretty stable over the past 2 years. I took a look at EU imports up to September 23, and they report 89,000 tons total so far. And of course, they're made up of the three usual destinations of Holland and Germany, combining to reach 32,000 tons, and Greece at 27,000 tons so far. Now, these numbers total 89 of EU imports to the year to date. Last year, 22, was just 84,000, so very close, very similar numbers. But the year 21, Europe had imported 110,000 tons. So you can see there's a slight trend in the downward direction of EU imports, at least in those figures across the first 9 months of each year. So I think with this Red Sea situation, everyone around the world, I think, is hoping that this can be resolved quickly. But week by week, we find ourselves in the same situation. So it's good news for other origins outside of India and China exports, unless there's some correction in either the freight or the offering levels. That's how I see it.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Any other views or observations on European Union? Any other questions?
David, I think that Europe is a little bit slow compared to previous years, this year also. Hakan was mentioning Turkey is exporting 25,000 tons. How is it changing?
Let's limit that, Max. Yeah. with 20.
How is it changing the European market demand and the buying patterns?
Mm.
And,
So,
you always lucky on an arm length basis. You can get the cargo in 2 weeks' time. So how is it changing the European market dynamics?
yes, it is changing, and this Red Sea issue is accelerating that change, Sebastian. I'm really seeing that production, both domestic, European hulling itself, but also supply coming from East Africa and coming from Turkey are much quicker shipments than the Far East. Shipments from India now, transit times are reaching 40 days. From China, 60 days is quite normal now. And that's with ever-changing sailing schedules. So we know that the shipping lines will be producing a sailing schedule and then changing it. So we have to adjust to these new transit times and look for faster reacting origins or plan further forward. But I think those faster reacting origins have a very good position right now.
Do you think that European consumption has shrunk a little bit, or it's stable?
I think yes, it's down a bit. Those figures that I mentioned, of 2021, where 110,000 tons had been imported by just by the first 9 months of the year. So we're down around 10,000-15,000 tons, something in that area. And I guess we're coming into, I suppose, the springtime. Hope by the time Indian cargo arrives in Europe, we could be in spring. Here we are in January, and it's 40 days. It's going to be arrivals in March, really. I think we're looking at so a changing world with bigger opportunity for more local origins, let's say.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views. So, same question to the Middle Eastern countries. Like, can we see any change in the imports from Middle Eastern countries subjected to the Sudan conflict? As Israel is one of the largest consumer of sesame, which consumes around 70,000 metric tons. So, how the consumption will be? How the import will be from Middle Eastern in 2024? Subjected to geopolitical tensions.
Well, I don't see much impact of Sudan into Middle East because, of course, this is what you want to hear. Sudan shipments, Middle East is mainly depend on Sudan. And as you can see that though shipments slow down, it was earlier also slow, now also slow, but there is no much impact. Especially Jeddah, the Saudi shipment, Jeddah, every shipping line there hub is now Jeddah. And to ship it from Jeddah to Jeddah is the most easiest thing from Sudan. Any shipping line you can ship it. And Jordan, now it can be catered via Jeddah by road to Jordan also. So now talk about overall, I think there is no change in numbers. The numbers will be more or less 120 to 150,000 tons. Now, when you talk about Israel, yes, they have a major problem now. Shipments recently into Israel, but they bought, that's probably one of the reasons. Before the problem starts, Ethiopia was shipping to Israel, so they still sitting in some stocks. And now going forward, if this problem exists for some more time, then there will be a shortage of stocks in Israel. Then the only way is they need to look from Egypt shipment, which is maybe Sudan transit via border. That means Sudan to Egypt, the border trade will increase. From Egypt, then it will be shipped to Israel. Or the second option is via Jordan. Somehow, okay, they will get their cargo, but locally in Israel, the prices can go up because of the supply reduction. One of the things they are used to buy and use Humera sesame seed. probably if this Red Sea problem continues, maybe for some time, they may have to change the old behavior and they need to accept the Sudanese visit. And yeah, eventually they will do it. If they don't have any other option, they will do it. Otherwise, except some freight increase and all these things, some delays and all these things, Middle East, somehow they are getting their goods. I don't see a major impact at the moment, either from Sudan to Middle East or overall Middle East consumption.
Plus the Israelis, they have bought Sudanese from Turkey also. In the past, and if this matter further escalates, they will eventually come back. Of course, but they are calculating this prices from Turkey as to Humera and sort. But unfortunately, that cargo has to be, it cannot be shipped as Sudanese, it has to be shipped as Turkish. And that is around $60–70 extra cost, plus the freight and so on and so forth. So they end up buying non-Gedaref more than what the Humera is offered at origin, neither CFR or FOB basis. So Israelis will have a high cost at the end. They're unable to buy. So even there is Humera available in Turkey now, which is being quoted around, but locally around $2,200. So if they want Humera for a limited quantity, how much they'll be able to pay? Not to consider any CFR Sudanese non-Gedaref will be costing them around also $22.50 or something like that at this point. Prakash, how much I should pay you for Sudanese to ship to Israel?
And don't forget, Israel consumption is not their local consumption. A big amount is coming for re-export. They are processing in an export to US, Canada, and some good volume was going to Palestine, which has stopped. So this means in any way, because of this war, Red Sea, not only Red Sea, because of the war, their consumption is going to come down because their export, their cargo going to Palestine is almost will be stopped. Then because of all these issues, their export into Canada and all these other countries, USA and everything will reduce. So in a way, because their consumption is also going to reduce.
Yeah, and that demand will switch to Turkey because you see when US buys tahini from Turkey, there is I think some duty, but from Israel there is nothing. So that difference will be compensated by the price by that price difference as well. So it might bring further opportunity for Turkish tahini exporters as well in the basis of exports.
I think Israel is taking some cargo from Egypt, and I think they have started buying from Togo, Burkina Faso also. So Burkina Faso cargo also is going to Israel directly. They're just trying to replace some cargo with West African crop.
Sorry, one question for Hakan Bey. Hakan Bey, you mentioned that the Turkish could take advantage of sending the tahini to US. But the Turk have a differential duty on exports to US. Has that been removed?
No, I don't know. No.
Not removed.
No, it's not been removed.
That's why all the Turkish are putting a factory in US now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Turkey
also
had
some Turkish,
a duty was put upon Turkish exports to US in 2018. That's why there was a problem.
That's why, Sanjay, actually a little bit from the Egypt and Syria, people are trying to export to US.
Yes. Yeah.
And some companies do export. You see, there's nothing on there. I think Sesame Seeds, so they export the factories. The factories. the factories in US are buying roasted one, ready to process. So they don't have the roasting part of the production there. They buy already roasted, so they can immediately crush it for ready for tahina.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
thank you for sharing your views. And
Yeah.
sorry, Nazla ma'am, for making you wait for so long. So next question is for you. So exports from Brazil have been increasing in the increasing trend in the last few years. So how the export scenario is going to be this year, and how much quantity Brazil has exported last year?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning from Brazil, of course. It's very early here. Thanks for the invitation to talk about Brazilian sesame. I live right next to the producing areas. I live in Mato Grosso State, which is the main producing area in Brazil. I will talk a little bit about what's going on here, and feel free to ask questions in the end. So, in 2023, we faced many challenges in our crop. Drought was one of them. In the new areas, especially, the farmers harvested around 200 kilos per hectare. It was very little, but overall, our yield is very small. Our yield is for around 580 kilos maximum per hectare in a average area, not a very good, but an average. We exported about 150,000 tons in 2023, and India was our main destination. We exported so much because we had a lot of carryover cargo from 2022. Due to price trends, we couldn't enter the market during 2022. So in early 2023, January, February, we had many shipments, especially to India. But our destinations are flexible. Each year is a surprise. So we started exporting a lot to India in 2020 and expected that to continue, but the market changed. And then our main importer was Guatemala, which was unusual, but we expected it to carry on. And it changed again. In 2022, Turkey was our top exporter. Our top importer. And in 23, India came back as the special destination for us. So our relationship with India is very close in trade, also with pulses. And most of our exporters of sesame seeds also work with pulses, so it goes hand in hand. We are very susceptible for market conditions. So our main destination may change in 24, depends on the crop in India. For now, we are looking to consolidate the crop. Brazil is a learning player in the market. We are still getting the feedback from the market and trying to improve on FFA issue and other problems with the bitterness and other complaints that we get from our customers, but we are looking into technology to work on that. As for the taste, Brazil is also developing new varieties and buying new varieties abroad and bringing to our country to test. So hopefully in the next years it will improve. And we have rising destinations to which the exporters are looking into. We want to diversify and to be able to get as many customers from many countries as possible. This is also something that I've been working on in a project with the government. So we are looking to Mexico, for example, that has improved their customs tariffs for many origins and for many products in the past year. And we are long awaiting for the opening of the Chinese market, which is an ongoing negotiation between two governments for a while now. But that's expected to happen in the next 1 or 2 years, depending on the goodwill of the government agents, and we know that may vary from moment to moment. So it would be a game changer for Brazil. And for 2024, we don't expect an increase or a major increase in our crop, mostly because of the issue we had in 2023. To increase the crop, we need to get the farmers on board. And once the farmer have a bad result with any new crop, which is the case for sesame seeds, they will go back to what they know. They have certainty that they will have a profit with the crop. So it's very likely that the farmers will come back to planting corn, which is in the same season as sesame. It's a very low risk crop, just like sesame seeds, but they have more certainty that they will have a good price to sell because the price is fixed and less susceptible of market conditions. Besides exports, our sesame has been used in the local market. So we have oil and tahine factories in Brazil. There are not many. We can estimate around 10,000 metric tons of consumption per year around all these small factories. And there's also the carryover stock that stays and is used either for seeds or as a safety net for some exporters and some companies that want to attend punctual demands or local market demands as well. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Brazil?
Hi, Najla. This is Jay here from
Hello.
India. Yeah, hi. So from what I could gather from the conversation is that you don't expect a very big increase in the crop size in 2024 harvest. Is that correct?
Correct. We are estimating that it will increase at least 10 or 15%, but it will depend on the enthusiasm of the exporters for the international scenario.
And the sowing period would be, I think, in next month. The sowing should start.
Sowing period would start in February 15, which is the official window for planting. And then we expect to start harvesting in June and July.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your views. So we have Mahesh Raja Manglani sir from Pakistan. He is also waiting from so long. So let's move on to Pakistan now. So Pakistan has exported a very good quantity of sesame this year. So how Pakistan crops is going to be? Like, can we see an increase in the area under sesame this year as there is a demand from major consuming countries, increasing demand from major consuming countries. So is this going to increase the area under the sesame in Pakistan?
Hello, everyone. This is quite late for me. I'm in Australia right now, actually. So I joined a bit late. So as everyone know, this year Pakistan had produced a very good quantity. Back in 2012, Pakistan used to have around 10,000 to 15,000 tons only. And now in 2023, right, 11 years after, Pakistan produced around 225,000 tons of sesame seeds. we had two qualities which is quite known with everyone. That's hybrid and farming. And as expected, this year the crop finished before and within 2023. So it started in August, September, and October, November. For like 3 months to 4 months were the major months in which almost 90% crop was exported. I would share some figures with you. So, like, yeah, uh, we exported around 37K in August, and then in September we exported double the quantity, which was 84K metric tons, and in October it was 57K, November 20,000, and December was only 4,400. So Pakistan exported around 215,000 tons, 210,000 or 215,000 tons within 3 to 4 months only, and now we see no much carry forward. There is, but maybe the good quality is not available. In terms of good quality, it's not available for export purposes. And then coming to the production, so like this year we had around 225,000 tons production. So we have been continuous in contact with the government, with the TDIP, Trade Development Authority of Pakistan, and with farmers. Since last month, we have been arranging sessions with the farmers in Sindh, Punjab, and Balochistan. We have been trying couple of more sesame seeds of sesame which were imported from China, and like we have our own Pakistani sesame which is hybrid, and since we call it desi. So the experiment was done in last month, and then the experiment was done last month and also in season as well, but did not see Chinese seeds to be successful in our Pakistan along with the farmers. So the yield was not good. So our farmers are now focusing more on Pakistani seeds, and the government is supporting the farmers to increase the acreage. So within 10 and 11 years, we see around 20 times higher production in Pakistan. And this year we see the production could go up to 300,000 tons as well if the weather conditions remain good. And it's quite early to predict, but I believe the production will increase. Like we see very good demand from our neighboring countries, or mostly buyers from Pakistan, or East Asia and Southeast Asia. So China is the major buyer from Pakistan. They take the major chunk import from Pakistan. This year we exported around 170,000 tons. All exporters from all Pakistan export around 170,000 tons to China only. And other countries were Korea, Taiwan, Japan, Vietnam, and bit volume to Indonesia and Malaysia.
Yeah, any other questions for Pakistan? In- Any other questions or observations on?
Is there any way to avoid the AFLA issue from Pakistan somehow?
Sorry,
Aflatoxin.
there's a bit distortion. Network can come again.
Yeah.
Initiatives-
Is there yeah, the aflatoxin issue with Pakistan? Is there a way to sort this out somehow?
Well, there is aflatoxin issue every year in Pakistan, and mostly it is in farmy sesame seed. So, like I always inform to my buyers, because of the farming growing regions, many farmers use harvesters. So, because of using of harvesters, there could be aflatoxin. And then sometimes in the growing areas of farming, the weather conditions are not good. So the crops get damaged. Either they get a lot of extensive heat, sunshine, or they get a lot of winds, due to which farming always have aflatoxin issues, but mostly in the end of the crop, not either early or middle crop, but whenever the crop is ending, we see issues with aflatoxin in farming. Sometimes there is issue with the hybrid as well, but if the quality of the producing area is not good up to the mark, so there is also aflatoxin in hybrid, but not mainly. Trying to control this, we are, like I said earlier, we are going with some of the awareness sessions with the farmers in all of the regions. Every month we have started this. Since last month we are doing this. It was in Sindh earlier, now again in next month will be in Balochistan, then in Punjab. So we'll try to minimize these issues, and we see how it goes in this coming year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views. So, we would like to have a final concluding reviews from everyone on the 2024 Sesame scenario. So, we would like to have concluding reviews from you. So, let's start with Sebastian Andrews, sir.
Sorry, I didn't hear actually.
Yes.
Can you repeat?
Yes, we would like to have final concluding reviews from you. So, like on the 2024 Sesame scenario.
Right.
Yes.
As per me, the market will continue to be stable and up. Any other directions, we will have to wait to see how the East African crop is panning out. East African crop and the Indian summer crop. So till that time, I see markets are stable and so.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, Sanjay Sharma, sir, can you please give your review, sir?
I think it's similar to what Sebastian says. It's more or less a stable market would be expected at this moment. It's not that we are expecting too many changes to take place in the market, but lots of moving parts still. So we might, the market could see a few ups and downs. So thanks. That's no definitive views, no nothing that it will move up. It can only move in one direction. It will see a few ups and downs.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Then Alok Bhargava, sir. Alok Bhargava, sir. I think he's not there. So let's have review from David Batteri, sir.
Well, from EU demand perspective, we need a return to open seaways, and then an equal playing field for all origins to participate in EU demand.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So we would like to have reviews from Hakan Utsai, sir, from Turkey. Please share your reviews with us. Okay, I think he's not there. So let's have
The microphone.
Hakan is on mute. Hakan,
hello. Yeah, okay. So I think we are going to have a stable market until this Tanzania cargo arrives in terms of Africa. Like Najla said, Brazil has its own markets. So I don't know what sort of impact it will have on the upcoming crop. But till then, we will have a stable scenario. On the contrary, one thing that we should be taking into account that in terms of financials, the situation of the situation of the dollar, how the dollar will be acting against other currencies, because there's also signs that US will be reducing interest rates at least 3 times 2 to 3 times this coming year. So the dollar situation against the other currencies will be an important fact in terms of commodity prices as well as the producing countries. So that's it for now.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your review. And Jayachandrana, sir.
Yes, I feel that the market should remain range bound with $1,700, $1,750 level remaining that that benchmark level below which even if the commodity prices go, they'll not sustain for a very long time. And higher prices, we are seeing demand from China, for example, not coming in a big way above that level. So I feel there is a very strong resistance in the market above at 1,800 or 1,800 above levels. So I think we will remain in a very range bound price range. And also I feel other than the demand and supply, the factors which will impact the sesame seed price movement would be logistics and currency, because logistics, we have to wait and see how the Red Sea situation really evolves, and currency for countries like Nigeria, for example, we could see price movements even because of currency in origins because of this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So let's have reviews from Mahesh Raja Manglani, sir. Mahesh, sir.
Microphone.
Is it okay now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sir.
sorry, it was on mute. Yeah, so I feel that it's my personal view, I believe that 2024 would be very challenging, and it would be interesting as well, considering all regions of sesame seed and the prices. And also we have seen war in 2023, the geographical issues, the Red Sea issues. So it might have some after effects, which will certainly may create some issues with the sesame seed as well. So price range would remain 1,700 to 1,800. This would be the below range. I don't see sesame seed coming down anywhere near soon because of good demand this year. Again, Chinese will come. Right now, the markets are stable. There's not much very good demand, but after a couple of months after the festival, the demand may come soon, and it will be quite challenging here, I believe. And the prices will remain firm, according to me.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Nazla, ma'am.
Thank you.
For 2024, we hope that there are opportunities for Brazil to enter the market and to supply all the customers, especially overcoming the challenge in the Middle East. But we are also looking very much into Asia, and the Asian markets have been very receptive for our products. So we hope that increases in this year.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. So I thank each and everyone for participating in the webinar and sharing your wonderful insights. So it's great to connect with you all and understand about the market insights of Sesame. And we'll be looking forward to connect with you all in the future as well. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank
Just
you, everyone.
one quick word, like, no, I will not take much time. Like, this is our first attempt to have this small group discussion. I hope, like, it was productive, and we thank you, each one of you, in short notice, like, you agreed to join in. And if it is useful, like, we would like to do it like maybe like, twice a year or so. Thank you very much for your time. And we will try to summarize what has happened here and share it with you so that like, once we get your confirmation on the content, we will publish it as a part of the Gulf Food 2024. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.